My introduction to sports really happened when I went to Wolmer's. In PE class, I recognized that everything I played, I was good at. It never mattered which sport. Once it had a ball, I was good at it. And the teachers were like, no, man, she need to come play for this team. She need to come play for that team. If you want to be a Merlin Otti, why not? I played until I was 30, 28, 2017, 2018, till I was 37. Continued playing competitively till I was 37. And I guarantee you, no, if my country call me and say, come play Cherine, I'm going to have little pains, probably need to Voltaren tablet and a couple massage well, but I'm gone again. It's love. Yeah. It's in your heart.
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analysts. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Cherine Richards, former national volleyball player, former national rugby player, now team manager of Wolmer's athletics program. Cherine, welcome to the Sports DTM studios.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. We have this one question that we ask everybody. Which sports teams do you support in any sport?
Oh, well, I'm Liverpool. And I still have the Chicago Bulls in my heart, even though they're not. I'm from that era.
From 98.
Yes, so I'm still a Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
Outside of that, I just love sports and I love seeing and watching a good match. It doesn't matter which team.
Great. Tell us about yourself, growing up, and how you got involved in rugby and volleyball.
Wow. So I'm from a family that my father played multiple sports and he used to run for Jamaica. I'm from Yorkton, St. Catherine. Asafa would have been in class with my brother. My sister would have gone to St. Jago with his brothers, Nigel and Donovan Powell. His father used to carry us to school. So it's one big track and field little country setup.
Sporting environment.
Yes. And then I went to Wolmer's and I'm the middle child. So everybody got a different reality, a different lived reality. So Charlie Mount High School, St. Jago High School, Wolmer's. If I never go Wolmer's, I would have gone to St. Jago.
St. Jago, that's my school.
Yeah. So I spent time with my different siblings watching sports at different levels and watching different people play sports. My introduction to sports really happened when I went to Wolmer's. In PE class, I recognized that everything I played, I was good at. It never mattered which sport. Once it had a ball, I was good at it. And the teachers were like, no, man, she need to come play for this team. She need to come play for that team. So because I was coming from the country, you had a little country bus at the time. And I was one of the first set of persons to come to Wolmer's from Linstead, Yorkton area, basically. And we had a private bus back in 1992. And went to school on the bus, and I used to beg the bus driver to pick me up last so I could go to training sessions. So by the time the bus got to Wolmer's, training would be finished. So first form I did swimming, second form I started volleyball. Third form I left volleyball and went to netball. I got called for Jamaica under 16 team. Couldn't make it because of where I lived, so it just never worked out.
Because of the distance. Oh wow.
Because of the distance. Fourth form, played softball, went to Jamaica's training for softball. Again, couldn't work out because of the distance, and my parents were not about to travel to have me do it.
Wow.
So fifth form, no sports, but I was still beating up everybody in track and field. And that's Mr. Carr used to dislike the fact, Mr. Michael Carr, still coach of Wolmer's girls track team, used to dislike the fact that a non-trainer would come and beat his girls who were training on sports day. So sixth form came and Mr. O'Neill Ebanks said, Cherine, we needed to come back to volleyball, come play. And then I went back to volleyball, I captained the team, we went on to victory, and I would have played with girls who first formers and second formers, because the team was young, which is why he wanted me to come back, because he wanted the experience. Because even though I wasn't on the school team because of circumstances, I would still go to training and play with them, so they knew I could play. So he signed me up. We spoke to Issa. We tried to get Wolmer's the matches that were earlier in favor of me getting to play, because it was less schools playing at that time. This was long before Aviel's time and all of those athletes.
Also, you got privilege then.
I'd put it like that. So it's sixth form now, upper six came, and Alpha beat me. And I said, I never live it down. Alpha beat us in, school league football at the time. And I went on to university, and they would say the rest is history, because my first year in university, I did not make the volleyball team, because their team was solid. They had national players and everything. And in second year UA, I remember it like yesterday. I was still training with the team. The team went to Aruba. They came back, they had an intercollegiate match. And the young lady, don't want to call her name, she broke her foot in a match. And the coach said, suit up.
That was the opportunity.
That was the opportunity. And that day
Hold on, Mr. Richards. You sure that is not a movie?
It's surreal. It's like
remember that movie, even a basketball movie, when the girl was on the team and couldn't make it, and then
get a bus.
Get a bus, break her foot and get a bus. That was you.
What happened? That's exactly what happened. And it was hard training with them every single night. And the coach was like, "You're a good blocker, but you're not passing properly, and you can't score. You're scoring shots and stuff." But the girls were bigger, they were older, they were more aggressive. So even though I'm tall and stuff, I wasn't as aggressive. But I used to have this theory: a point is a point. If I spike the ball and it spike hard or soft, it's still a point. But I was scoring.
Yeah.
So I got my opportunity, and I never came off the court after that. I got called to the national team the same year in 2004. I went to represent Jamaica in the Caribbean Championships. The male and the female team came second. Then in 2005, Cheryl Daly and myself decided that we wanted to venture out into beach volleyball. So we became Jamaica's first beach pair. And we funded ourselves. We would beg our friends help to buy tickets and stuff like that. So we improved Jamaica's ranking together. Then Andre McLean, who was also a player, decided to coach us. This is before Mr. Ebanks took up the coaching. He was a player coach. So him and Mark Lewis went to World University Games for beach volleyball and did really well. And it was just us as athletes training together, sending ourselves on tours, not having the help, the physio, the massage therapists. We didn't have any of that. And we were just driven by the love of the sport. So fast tracking, played beach volleyball, burned up in the sun, sand, sea, just loving it, touring for a couple of years. Well, we started the Norseca Beach Tour in Cayman in 2005. And we went on to the teens. Then we got older and we said, time to give up the reins to some younger persons. But things weren't in place in terms of the associations. So while they are good athletes, the heart not in it, I would say, because the longevity for them never lasted, because we had to put in the work and they didn't. But fast tracking again, I was still playing indoor. So we have been reigning champions over the years, UWI Volleyball Club. And I have been a dominant middle player, middle attacker. And my last national call-up was 2017. And me all them time here too. And I used to go to the girls. I've been teaching from 2003. I went back to my alma mater. I would have taught girls that I would have played with when I was in sixth form, because I was a young teacher. I went back to Wolmer's when I was 21. I took the classes of the principal, Mrs. Montague. She gave me her classes because she wanted to teach and be principal. 3 weeks into being principal, she said, this is not going to work. All right, Cherine, I'm considering your resume, come in. So that's how I ended up in teaching. I am still in teaching, and I've been playing with rugby. I was helping Jerry Benswick manage the male program, because the male program is split between the English-based players and the local players. So he knew that I stopped playing volleyball, and he said, come help me manage rugby. But the sports Billy that I am went to the people's training and still played. So I went to the training as the manager and was playing. So everything the girls did, I learned the sport, I played the sport, I was in the scrimmage. I traveled with them as the manager, And again, Tyrone, don't laugh at me. One of the girls got a head concussion. And they
Coincidentally.
were short a player. And everybody did this. Cherine, you need to play. I'm like, I'm here to manage. And they're like, no, man, you can't play and manage, man. You can't play. And I played. And that was my first time in Trinidad. And we qualified for the Hong Kong qualifiers for the females and males that year. And funny enough, again, so the story would have some drama when it comes to me. I played and I broke my ankle. A Canadian girl stepped into my foot in the last match. 5 minutes to go. I came back to Jamaica hopping around and everybody was laughing after me. Oh, I ended up playing rugby and go broke up myself and
Right.
it never mattered because I really love the sport and I love the fact that I got the opportunity to help my country. And this would have meant that I played 3 national sports for my country. And after that, I ended up being on the team. So I was managing the boys, playing with the girls. I would have played in tournaments, and then I went to CAC games again and represented, and we came third. So we got a medal out of that. So it has been a roller coaster love, I can't say love-hate relationship. It's been total joy. My experiences could go for hours in terms of matches and my memorable moments playing. So, that's it. And then I switched into being a manager.
Tremendous story, Cherine. And not many persons can say they played for Jamaica in 3 different sports. Tremendous.
That's true.
And as I said, once you touch the ball, is magic. Any ball. Were you good at jacks?
I was good at jacks. I was good at jacks. But some people do things for different reasons. I just always relish the opportunity to impart and give back to the youths. So in 2010, when Wolmer's boys won Champs 2010, that's when I started managing the girls' school. It's my alma mater. The principal saw me with the boys' school because I was working with the boys' school before. And she was like, Cherine, you work at the girls' school? You went to the girls' school? Oh, come over there with the boys' school. And I was like, well, they had asked for my help 2 years ago and I've been with them, teaching at the girls, but helping the boys track program. I thought everything was okay over here. And she said, no, man, you need to be working with Mr. Carr. And again, the rest is history. I've been with Mr. Carr since 2010. And we're still together. And this year, they have also given me the boys' school track team again. So I am managing both the boys and the girls' school track team. Of course, the girls are back in the top 10. The boys are back in the top 10. The boys are 7th. And we have a 5-year plan for the boys. For the girls, it's never been about winning champs. It's about representation. We use 16 girls this year to go back in the top 10. And we are 8th. 65 place, 5 points from 6th place. And it's quality, but all our girls get the opportunity to, get scholarships, etc., etc. So I'm doing that. And I got called this week to manage the J3's under 18 and under 23 team to the knockout games next week. So I'm also a track and field team manager now. And I think persons have recognized, the connection with youth because I'm a teacher. I teach at KC. I manage Wilmers, and I have my proper job, people. I like to say proper job, and I volunteer a lot, but I do work for the University of the West Indies, where I manage a hall of residence of over 800 students.
What is the true love, volleyball or rugby?
Volleyball, man. Volleyball is a different kind of sport. The emotions that rugby is a rush, a momentary rush. But I don't think I've been in rugby long enough to have that kind of attachment. Volleyball, I have found lasting friends.
Exactly.
Okay, let's use Paula. I would have played with Paula. Let's use Aiko. Aiko would have been my student. I would have taught her in 3rd form, and I played with her in 2017.
We interviewed her.
I saw, and I was like, oh, look at my baby, and we took pictures. She's like one of my favorite persons. Outside of being an athlete, she's a wonderful person. And in 2017, when I played, we bawled, we hug up, and she's like, Auntie Cherine, I'm her teacher, her friend, Auntie Cherine, Mommy Cherine, and we're playing together. It was a surreal moment, and those opportunities that you get to wear your colors and do the sport justice. I mean, she's come a long way and she's done the sport justice. But as a minor sport, one of my wishes is that we stop being so minor, because volleyball is one of the major sports in the world. We are top 5 in the world. But in Jamaica, because of, circumstances, track and field is easier to do, football is easier to do in terms of equipment, netball as well. When you have to think about a court and a net and, the different types of balls that you have to use, we understand why the expense wouldn't transcend the depths of Jamaica. So that's the only thing that I would say in terms of, trying to get the sport more popular.
More
as
backing,
everybody
more
else
support
wants.
from the corporate Jamaica and all of that.
But corporate is gonna go where the hype is,
the hype, exactly.
The hype is. So even
true.
rugby. Let's look at rugby. We made it to the World Cup. We made it to the World Cup in San Francisco, Rugby Sevens, the sport that is played in the Olympics. Netball isn't even played in the Olympics. Rugby is played. And we couldn't get support. The support was like really hard when I was trying to get sponsorship for the team. And to think of it, that young Mikhail, was at GC Foster, now at Caribbean Maritime Institute, was the youngest player to ever play in the Rugby World Cup. And I don't see it being blown up enough. I mean, I know other media personalities like yourself would have tried to say, this person is the youngest person that has scored in a World Cup as well. And Mikhail didn't even get the quote unquote glory that you would say, one of getting that opportunity would get.
That's sad. Tiga.
Really, 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 really sad. Yeah, that's really sad. You mentioned one name, you keep mentioning one name from Wilmers, Mr. Michael Carr. I know him very well. He was my football coach.
He was football?
Yeah, he was he football. He coached me football at Stone Hill. Yeah, I'm from Stone Hill. Yeah, I'm from Stone Hill. So
he's from Stone Hill. He's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, he coached me. All right. So who were the persons, are the key persons that help you to develop on the court and also help you in athletics?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you who would have coached me. Mr. O'Neill Ebanks from Wolmer's Girls School came to Wolmer's when I was in 3rd form. I stopped playing volleyball when he came because I never liked him. I never liked the fact that this man come and take on my favorite coach job. Miss Robinson was before him. But then in 6th form, I recognized, Cherine, you're being childish. The man don't do you nothing. And I stopped playing volleyball really because they changed the coach. And I never knew him. So up to 3rd form, remember I was playing with Miss Robinson. But I would say over the years, we have become very, very good friends. He's responsible for my early foundations in volleyball. And then Philip Greenland at the University of the West Indies. He's a renowned coach. He's fabulous. He's the national coach. He's sickly now, but he's still there, always edging us on. He would have taught me a lot of what I know now. I remember my coach from Cuba, he also taught me different things in volleyball that other coaches wouldn't have been able to teach me. That's for volleyball. For track and field, I became the university's 100 and 200 meter champion in track and field. So I've also played basketball. I'm the university's sportswoman of the year 3 years in a row because I play multiple sports. I play hockey, basketball, netball when I went to UE, all at the university level. I swam my first year. I did the same thing I did in high school. I tried to feel out different things because I wasn't about to try to make a national team. I just wanted to play for my university. Just to add, I graduated with a first-class degree. So it wasn't just sports.
Do it all.
It's about being balanced. Yes. It's really about being balanced. And when it came to my master's time, I started working because mommy couldn't afford to help me with my master's. But I couldn't leave the volleyball. I didn't graduate because I was away in Cayman playing volleyball, my first degree. My second degree, I never graduate. I was away again playing beach volleyball. And then when I did my second master's, I said, no, Cherine, you need to graduate. You need to know how it feels. So I went and I took the pictures and I showed up to graduation late, almost in time to walk onto the stage for Sir George to shake my hand. I tell you guys, when Sir George shook my hand, I said, sir, don't let it go. It's 3 graduations we miss. Him laughed. Him said, stay right here beside me. And he held on to my hand until they called the next name. I said, all right, I'll leave you. This is, this is weird. But Sir George Alain, and it's funny, the stars are aligned, Eddie and Tyrone, because I am now the manager of the Sir George Alain Hall of Residence.
Wow.
And it had no name before. When it was named, I was like, really?
That's a new hall.
The new hall.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is my first graduation. Sir George shake my hand. My first conversation, and now I'm managing the hall named after him in his honor. It was
tremendous.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey.
Nice.
So how did you balance all of that, all those sports and life?
My friend called me the master of time management. I waste no time. There's always something to do. I am the life of the party. I am not afraid for people to laugh after me. It don't faze me. So I'll give jokes like my little girl is outside with her 2 friends and her mother now, and I'm having an outside camp that I said, let's sleep outside tonight. And I bought the tent and making hot dogs and stuff just to let the students and the youths feel, a part of something, that kind of connection, de-linking, coming off the computer a little bit. But I manage my time very well. I would get up in the mornings, go to class. As class finish, I do my work. As I would hand in assignments 2 weeks before it was due, because I know 2 weeks time I'm traveling. I would straight from class. I would go to classes with my tights and my sports bra underneath my clothes, because I have to catch the bus at the sports office to go to GC for a match on a Thursday. I would plan so that I wasn't a party person. I didn't party. If that happened, you can count it on 2 fingers. It was just sports and schoolwork. So I didn't lose a night's sleep. While everybody was partying, I was sleeping, because tomorrow morning I have to go training. So I took it that seriously, but it was a balanced lifestyle because my friends helped me as well. So being a Christian and understanding that certain things were not for me, my friends would say, if they see something happening, they say, no, Cherine, you need to go up, this enough for you, kind of mentality. So they kept me on the straight and narrow too. And I just did my work, played, and I had wonderful friends, and I play games, and we'll go river. I'm an outdoor person. So my fun is river, movies, chilling like that. So it's not all work and no play kind of thing, But
all right, you just been.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you just mentioned that your daughter is outside and stuff like that. We understand that sports let you inherit a daughter. Tell us about.
Oh, so I'm going to give you the shortest version possible. So the version is, in 2014, she came to Jamaica with a group of Namibians. She's Namibian. She came to Jamaica when she was 5+, turned 6 in the January in 2014. The Namibians weren't adjusting well. They came to Jamaica to learn best practices in sprinting over at MVP at UTEC. I'm very close friends with MVP. I'm an MVP baby. Those who don't know what MVP is, it's the top track and field club in Jamaica that produces a lot of Olympians. So Safa and Shelley would have been there, Bridget Foster, Melaine Walker, Sharika Jackson, Elaine, all of those persons would have been there together at that time. And there was just this little girl who was running around with nobody helping her. Her father was there. Her father had to take her to Jamaica with him because her grandmother, who she lived with in Namibia, died. So she spoke Afrikaans. She was very introverted, head held down, not, the typical 6-year-old Jamaican that, chat enough. So Stephen Francis asked me to help manage the Namibian team. So he introduced me to the head of the delegation, who was her father. And I was managing the team, making sure they were okay, got them a bus, got them food every 2 weeks, let them feel at home in Jamaica, just make sure they were okay. But I recognized in the home, this little girl wasn't being taken care of. because it's wholly for athletes. And I don't want to put this out there, but they were very African in their existence in the home. So they are from tribes that don't wear tops. So they walk around. She was exposed to a lot of things. And I would say, Leto, Cleopas, his name is Cleopas Amola. I said, Leto, make her come stay with me for the weekend, man. Because I always have kids around. And she would come and she would meet the Wilmos girls who adopt her. I carry her to holiday camp in December. Them love her, them comb her hair. She running up and down with them. She doing everything. She never want to go back. Every time I drop her off, Auntie, when am I coming back? I drop her off, Auntie, when am I coming back? So it became a weekly thing on weekends for us. But in 2016, I was going to go to the Olympics and they had to return to Namibia. But he couldn't bring her and he asked me if I could keep her for the summer. My mother actually had her first because I sent her to the country because I went to the Olympics in 2016. And when I came back, I asked him, when are you coming back? He said, him soon come back, him soon, I don't know. And so I've had her, put her in school. She's been with me. He loves her, but he couldn't be, it was hard for him to take care of her. The situation, he went back to home and saw. And he asked me if I could keep her. And she just literally landed in my hand and her name means I am given. So I just thought it was a blessing. I didn't have children. I was just trying. She stabilized me. She was my center. And that is part of the reason why I had to stop rugby because leaving her alone was taking a toll on her and the connections that we would have had to as a little girl, traveling and stuff. So I decided after 3 years with the rugby team, I think it's 3 or 4 years, that it was, somebody else could have taken over the reins. So I now have her. She's in first form at Wilma's Girls School. She's doing pretty well. She's also an athlete. She swims for Y Speedos.
Naturally.
Didn't compete because of Corona. Her father used to play rugby for Namibia and football. So she's been introduced to everything I do, I bring her. Once it is child friendly, if I can go most times, I don't go if she can't come. Because my mother never left me anywhere. So I want to give her that opportunity, to be exposed to different things. So she's on the track team as well. She's doing her schoolwork on top of that. So single parent life, I've been thrown into it, Tyrone. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
That's wonderful.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's wonderful.
That's
wonderful. Kudos, Cherine.
Yes, kudos, Cherine. Yes, that's really good. That's really good. Proud of you. So since you're saying about that now, so walk us through a day and life of Cherine, the Wolves athlete team manager. Give us a life.
So let me give it today. You want today?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a general day. What you do generally?
Okay, so let's do one during Corona today. So I would teach in the morning because we're doing Corona time now. I would teach in the morning, teach during the days, go over to UA, do my UA work, Zoom into 3 Zoom meetings. So again, I have 1 Zoom meeting here, 1 Zoom meeting there, 1 Zoom meeting there on 3 different devices. And I'm actively engaged in each. Then I would leave that. Then I would go down to Woolmers. I would spend an hour with the girls, then go over to the boys' school, spend an hour, then go back to the girls and pick her up. We would come home, we'd do homework, and I would go back on campus and have meetings with my staff, my resident advisors to plan the next day. If I don't get to go physically, I have a Zoom meeting with them quickly. And then I would log off and go to a Zoom meeting with the Woolmers parents. It's just scheduling. My typical day ends at about 12 midnight. I would have running between Woolmers and or KC if it was physically face-to-face. Because I started teaching at KC because the principal couldn't find a teacher for a subject. And he knew I had given up teaching at Woolmers for my job at UA. So he said, Cherine, please, I beg you, we need a teacher. Can you teach part-time? So that's why I went back into teaching because I actually gave up teaching for the job at UA. But I said I wouldn't give up the track and field manager part. So I was back and forth between KC and Woolmer, still is, but Corona has been good in that respect because the Zoom helps me move quicker, no traffic. So it's just a click away for the students. And my students did examinations today. I teach Caribbean studies and sociology. So when that finishes, then I deal with my child. I cook, feed her, and all of those things when I come home. Today was an extraordinary day because I woke up this morning. I jog in the mornings. I jog at about 5:30 to 6 or 6 to 6:30. And put that in the other day I described. When I finish jogging, I come, I make breakfast, log her on, then I do household chores. Then I leave. I have a store, I have a business. So my business is in Legani, a boutique, a clothing store. I go, I check in, then I leave from there. I go to Woolmer's. We're having a fish fry tomorrow to support the track team. So I had to go to UTech, go to True Value, go to the supermarket, go to J3A's, spend an hour because I'm managing the team leaving next week, do some J3A work, pack some bags, leave from J3A, go to Woolmer's, drop off the Schaefer pans, drop off the jerk chicken, drop off the things I bought, come back up to J3A's, and then come back home to set up. I don't eat it. Come back home to set up for the camp.
Never.
That's what, no man, you just
That's how
eat
many.
pizza bun.
That's how many hours in your day.
I don't know how I do it.
She have a 27-hour day.
In a
Yeah,
24.
you know.
It's a 27 hours.
You know what,
It's a lot.
Eddie and Tyrone, it's just about keeping it moving. Keep it moving, you know.
True.
It's the traffic. I don't waste time. I don't, most times on my phone, it's so hard for me to have casual conversations. Most phone calls are business. When I do get the opportunity to have a casual conversation, is right before I drop asleep. And I will answer the phone. And because if I don't answer the phone, I'm going to get the call tomorrow. So better I answer the phone now. And, you know, people will say a message is easy, but a phone call is easier for me because I hardly see the messages because they're in groups on top of one another, on top of one another. So if you make a phone call, it's easier for me to answer and say, hey, this is it. Because by the time you message, 10 other messages come in front of your message and I just work from the top all the time. I don't know why.
Okay. So tell us, what has been the hardest part of your journey thus far and how do you overcome it?
Is that a trick question?
No, it's not.
Because I'm a problem solver and I'm so solution oriented. I have yet to find a hardest part because every time a hard part comes, I overcome it. So it's hard to say this was harder than that. But one thing I can say is dealing with different personalities on the different teams that I have come across, I view it as 10 steps ahead in terms of personal growth and understanding my existence and emotional intelligence because I am able to deal with these things. It makes me a better person, it makes me a better mother, it makes me a better teacher. And when people interact with me, sometimes I feel weird because I think I'm surreal because I don't really make nothing bother me. Things that would bother the ordinary person, I just don't have the time. I'm learning not to be annoyed by stupidity because I'm learning to accept, and we put it that way. When you get miserable and I'm not getting miserable and you cuss me for not being miserable, I'm like, seriously, life goes on, you know? So when it comes to sports, I don't get caught up in who is better than who to have those conversations because I have a lot of friends in the different spheres. So even in track and field, you can't tell me a Shelly versus Elaine. My loyalties to Shelly different from my loyalties to Elaine. Shelly is a Wolmerian. Shelly, I taught Shelly and Fraser in high school. I would have taught her for 2 years. I would have known her from third form, you know. So it's a different relationship. But Elaine is also MVP, and I would have met her, and she's a beautiful person. You know, you want them succeed. So somebody have to come second, you know. Somebody have to come second. And what bothers me in sports is that people put persons on pedestals, and the moment they don't meet expectations, all of a sudden something wrong with them. So this weekend,
That's a culture.
And it's a bad culture. I've heard so many negative things about Elaine this weekend, and I'm like, do you guys realize she run 10.8? You know, she's still the best we have, one of the best, the top three. She do it in the 200 again? Do you guys still realize she's in the top? They did the same thing with Ewan Blake. Time for Ewan Blake to hang up his shoes. Why? Why should he hang up his shoes? He came second in the race.
Exactly. He's not the one. He's not the one to hang up boots.
He doesn't need to. He's still at the top of his game until somebody else come beat me hang up my boots. If it is that you just want to stop like Bolt when you're at the top of your game, and I would even say that because Bolt got hurt in his last race.
It didn't end well. Right.
Didn't end well. So if you want to continue for years like a Michael Jordan, why not? If you want to be a Merlin Otti, why not? I played until I was 30. 2017, 2018, till I was 37. I continued playing competitive till I was 37. And I guarantee you know, if my country call me and say, come play Cherine, I'm gonna have little pains, probably need to Voltaren tablet and a couple massage well, but we're gone again. It's in your heart, you know. So those are the things that I would say would have been the negative takeaways from being involved in team sports.
Mhm.
But I won't say it has affected me negatively, so to speak.
Cherine, what's next for you? What do you hope to achieve in the next, say, 2 to 3 years?
I want to be married with children.
Yeah.
I am.
Naturally.
My goal is to pass on as much as I can pass on to my little girl. She's mine. I live with her specifically. So while I give to everybody else's children, that's one of my biggest goals. Make sure she's spiritually grounded. Make sure she knows what she wants. If she want to play jacks, I make sure she's the best jacks player. If she want to be a garbage collector, I make sure I help her buy the fleet, and she go run the garbage collection company. It's my concentration is her really. So she doesn't have her father. She doesn't have her mother around. I want her to feel loved. She's been with me longer than anybody else. She with her parents. Her mother saw her last when she was 2 probably, and they don't have that relationship. So I am helping her to appreciate all the aunties and uncles and all the mothers that she has gained. You know, don't want her to feel less than. So that's really my focus in a nutshell. I live a day at a time. So for me, it will come. The accomplishments that people think of, the car, the house, all of those things will come. I have some of those things already. So it's just about living day by day and ensuring that your lived experiences help somebody else to live better.
What advice do you have for young girls that want to play sports?
Swim. It's hard in sports for females. But if you are determined not to compare yourselves to your male counterparts and just do you, you'll be fine. If you are determined to be the best at what you do, you'll be fine. If your focus is, I love the song Own a Lane on a different level. If you stay in your lane and be the best at what you can be and give it TJ, give it 100%, you're good. When you start crossover as a female into territories where the competition gets mental when it doesn't have to be, that's not your sport. That's not your gender. That the discussion changes. It's more stress. I would tell you when I go into a match, people wonder why I laugh so much or I cheer. I'm having conversations across the net with my opponent. I'm like trash talking in a sweet way. And then I'm like, girl, you're not going past me today. Just focus on you and be the best at what you can be. I learned that manners and respect go a far way. If you focus on what you're doing, solutions pop up for problems that arise much easier. Because, I'll give you an example. I went to the Hong Kong Sevens with the rugby team. I'm the only female with 12 males. Well, 14 males because the coach is a male too, and the other manager is a male. And I'm the only female by the time I was done with that team, and I'm also a massage therapist, so I was massaging them and all of that thing. The Hong Kong Association and the World Rugby Association recognized what I was doing for the team, and I actually helped to troubleshoot and solve a problem that they were having. I went into the room, I recognized it, I took the initiative, I told them how they could solve the problem, and they were like, wow, we didn't think of that. And just because of that one thing, they invited me to work with the World Rugby team, the World Rugby
That's
Association.
awesome.
Yeah. So people will see your worth as a female, as a young girl. People will understand. And I'm appreciative of the journey that I have traveled and the lives that I was able to impact. Because even though I played, I was a teacher and I was still playing and I was a student. So imagine me having to teacher mode on the court when I see a student while being just an athlete and being fun for the students, so they don't feel too bad that, oh, I played with teacher and I can't be this. Nah, it was different. It was a different journey for me, but it helped me, and I know it helped other young ladies as well.
Great. Wonderful story, Cherine. And we're wrapping up now.
Beautiful.
Where can the people find you on social media?
Oh, so my name is Cherine Richards. I'm CBRM25 on Instagram. I'm the proud owner of Bridges Boutique at Bridges. It's my middle name, BRIDJAYS _boutique. Yeah, and Cherine Richards at Yahoo is my email address. So if you go on my Instagram, CBRM25. M is for my unborn child that I wanted to name the male. So it's not a man last name. Right. And Bridges Boutique is my little store that I started before Corona. So, and Corona doesn't mash up my business, but I'm holding strong.
Nice.
All right, Cherine Richards, we'd like to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyrone.
It was a great interview, and I know we just touched the tip of the iceberg. A lot more to discover. Fans out there, tell us what you thought about the interview. And remember to like, share, and comment. This has been another episode of Sports Down the Middle. Be blessed.
Thank you.